Welcome to Life, Love, and Good Stuff. Father and daughter chats with David and Sophie McCallum. Here we discuss seeing and living life through the lens of self-love, how family relationships and life experiences hinder or fuel an authentic, rewarding life. A life filled with conscious, compassionate self-love. And sometimes we just have a good chat. Actor David McCallum has appeared in theater, film, and television and is a critically acclaimed author. David's most enduring roles include the Russian agent Ilya Kuryakin in The Man from U.N.C.L.E. and Dr. Donald Ducky Mallard on the CBS hit NCIS. Sophie McCallum was born in New York City where she lives today. Sophie's a certified life coach but specializes in self-love coaching as the self-love peddler. Sophie is an energy leadership master practitioner and strives to start each day with love in her heart for herself and the world around her.
Here we are. Nous sommes chez nous.
Translate?
We are at our house.
We are at your house. I am talking to Katherine Carpenter McCallum.
Thank you.
My mother. My father's wife. It's Chats with Dad, but actually, I'd like you to know that there have been double-digit requests for chats with you.
Double digits?
Double digits.
11?
And also, Dad and I get a lot wrong. Don't touch this because it's going to make the mic sound funny.
I'm sorry.
Just stop you fidgeting, as your father would say. Yeah, double-digit requests for you. And also, Dad and I, we talk details, and we're like, maybe that's how it happened. We'll have to ask Mom. So if I remember, we're going to go back, and we're going to maybe hit some of those stats. Okay. But is there anything you want to ask me first? You don't have to.
No.
Making sure there's nothing you want to get off your chest while we're releasing audio for the world to listen to. I am very curious. So you grew up not too far from where we sit right now in the Five Towns in Long Island.
True.
Born in 1944.
I'm a war baby. I'm not a baby boomer.
War baby, not a baby boomer. And you, at a certain age, and you're going to insert details. We've already established I'm poor with details. Went from being a little suburban Long Island teen to becoming Glamour Girl and being smack dabbled all over magazines as a model. How did you make that transition and what inspired you to do it? And tell me the story of that time period.
I went to a girls' boarding school in Connecticut where I did extremely well. And senior year was all about getting into college, which I did. I got into all the colleges I applied to. Wellesley, Smith, and Vassar was accepted at all, and decided not to go. I think because my father had taken a year between boarding school and college and had gone to England, attended Oxford and studied Shakespeare, and he said it was the best thing he ever did. And there are those who say I was doing that to get his attention, not going to college. What the school said when I told them I wasn't going to college was, "Don't worry, Kathy. I'm sure you'll find a wonderful man and be married in no time." And that further let me know that I was doing the right thing, because how could anyone be so off base as to think life was either school or marriage for a female?
What year is this?
1962. And so I worked that first year as a secretary in New York, to which I was ill-suited. It was before computers, so we typed letters. And if one made a mistake, it required somehow erasing not only the letter that you were writing, but the 6 carbons underneath. It was all ghastly. Anyway, at the end of that year, I went to Sarah Lawrence for a year. And that didn't work either. And I left Sarah Lawrence, and...
Why didn't that work?
My advisor told me I had a moral obligation to be there. That didn't sit with me. You can imagine. And the thing I preferred about work as opposed to school was if one were a student at school and woke up one morning sick and didn't show up, nothing happened. Whereas at work, if you didn't show up and do your job, there was a problem. And I have always liked work better than school. But I was lucky enough to do well in school. So it seemed more like my decision rather than the school's decision. And then I didn't know what I was going to do. And someone took pictures of me and sent me to a modeling agency, which was called Stewart. And they signed me up. And I started working, and I loved it. I didn't particularly care about fashion, still don't. But it gave me the independence that I really wanted. And I had my own apartment quite quickly, and no roommates or anything. And I worked all the time. And then when I was 20...
Let me ask you, have you felt as if you have never lived up to your true potential? Do you hear a voice inside telling you that you're destined for more? Are you craving to love yourself more and live a fuller life? Welcome. My name is Sophie, and I'm your personal self-love peddler. I've created a program that allows you to forge into your most authentic life by guiding you on how to fully self-love. When we love ourselves and hold the space needed to learn about ourselves, our internal voice becomes crystal clear. When we start to listen to that voice, we begin to start living the life of our dreams. The path to getting there is paved with self-love. If you're a woman who does not stop to tune into self-care, to listen to yourself, if you ignore all the red flags and all the signs telling you that you are worth more, then you are exactly who this program is meant for. With the Flourish and Fly Learning How to Self-Love program, you will finally find the answers you have been seeking inside of yourself. We know children and even plants grow and learn best when surrounded by love, compassion, and encouragement. Guess what? So do grown-ass women. The women who work with me learn to nurture their true selves by turning their love inward, to grow and learn, to flourish and fly. If you're struggling with self-love and are nodding your head, yes, please click the link below and join me inside of this program. I cannot wait to guide you to flourish and fly with love.
I was working a lot for a magazine called Glamour, which still exists. And that magazine asked me to do a weekend shoot. And it was a shoot they did with two actors who were starring in a television series called The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which was the first spy television series. They'd had the James Bond novels existed, and there'd been at least one James Bond movie, but there hadn't been anything else in that genre. And I had my own apartment, but I didn't have a television, which in these days is pretty funny because people get televisions before they get the front door key. And I didn't know, I said, the man from what? But all the Glamour editress ladies were there, and they very much knew what it was. And your father was one of the two actors. And he was very blonde. I always liked that. And I did not realize, 3 years later, marrying him, 2.5 years later, that I would be beset with blondes. Our two children, your brother and you, are blonde and blue-eyed. And each of you has 3 blonde-haired, blue-eyed boys. So I got
It's a
eight.
good thing you like it.
It's a good thing I like it. Right. That's true.
I get a little assistance now, though.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so blonde
Well,
at
it
47,
works. It
but the
works.
assistance works.
That was a long answer to a short question. My apologies.
Oh, no, that's my favorite kind of question and answer here because people hear plenty from me if they're following my platform. So we're here to learn about you. And I want to know more about your time after meeting Dad and that whole experience. But the self-love peddler in me, I have a business where I practice self-love and acceptance and really embracing every part of yourself as it is, even things you determine to be flaws. Because if you waste your energy demonizing yourself, you're never going to have the future of which you fantasize about. So that being said, again, repetitively by me, I apologize. Beauty. Did you know you were beautiful when that picture was taken of you and you became a model?
Beauty. I mean, I think you can look right for something. Yeah, I had a mother with dark red hair and blue eyes, and father with light brown hair and green eyes. And their first two kids were Kathy, me, and George. And we looked like two little Mexican children because we had dark hair, dark eyes. Our skin got black in the summer because there was no such thing as sunscreen. And we didn't know where they got us, but we figured it was from the same place. We were followed by two more kids, a blonde and a light brown haired boy, Jake. And I was a very small child. And that would have been more of an issue if I hadn't been smart. Mm-hmm. And I was smart in school, so in grammar school. The fact that I was very, very small, that my friends would rest their chins on my head. I got by that.
And then at what point did you become...
Oh, I kept growing. They stopped. The ones who towered over me are now up to here.
And you like that?
Oh, my God. I worked so hard to get tall. So hard. And it worked. And I did it.
Well, I ask about beauty because I'm going to make it a little bit about me for a second. Growing up, I was always told, not by you guys, but by other people, oh, what a heartbreaker. Like she's going to break a lot of hearts when she gets older. And it was like my face being like conventionally attractive became my leader, like in every situation, which was very interesting. And it's something that I've thought a lot about because you lead with an attractive face, you set up expectations. Does the body follow? Am I good enough? Is this what people value in me? There's a lot of baggage that goes around that. Everybody has trauma and baggage from their past.
Right.
And one person's baggage to the outsider may be perceived as a gift. And I do think being attractive is a gift, and I'm thankful for it, but it didn't come without some trauma, small trauma, but stuff that it's good to take a look at. And one thing I want to thank you for is every single time someone would say I was pretty, you would say thank you, but you would turn to me and say, Sophie, remember. Do you remember what you would say?
No.
That and a token will get you a ride on the subway. That basically, at the end of the day, it's not something on which to rely. Right. It's not something that should have the weight and value that I think in today's society with all of the social media and the me, selfie culture, people have. So thank you for that, because to be raised by a model, I don't think supermodels were invented yet, but to be raised by a beautiful, tall, perfect-looking woman, you always put the visual in an appropriate place for me. Unfortunately, society doesn't, but you did. So thank you for that.
Good.
And I don't know, you just never
never seemed like you were coming from the model mentality of lead with the looks and don't worry about anything else. And interestingly, I hear you trace that back to your brains and knowing you were smart.
Yeah. Smart helped.
Smart helps.
When you had things strikes against you.
Well, and also a lot of kids are smart, but they're not told they're smart.
Well, I'm not sure I was told. Well, unless you.
But you did very well in school. And
Yeah,
there are a lot of
I
smart
did.
kids who don't do well in school. And
Yeah, that's true.
You know.
That's true. The thing that I feel about looks, particularly now, as I'm almost 78 and 80 approaches, is to look pretty cool for an 80-year-old. That's important to me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I hope I can. It's like, do your best, with what you got.
Right. You're never going to succeed at being anyone else.
Right.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, you're going to get that gold medal in being Katherine Carpenter McCallum.
Right.
But try to be somebody else and you're not going to place.
Right.
So, and it's a gift, and most of us have bodies that show up for us every day.
Really?
You're a little injured right now, but
yes.
But your body heals, right? Incredible.
How lucky are we? Amazing.
It's amazing what these bodies do.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Can't believe it. And I've had some wicked accidents. And thank God for healing.
Right. Absolutely.
You and I have recently recovered from simultaneous bouts of COVID.
Oh, I'm made of COVID at this point. I've had it so many times.
And Daddy hasn't had it at all.
I think he had it before we knew what it was.
Yeah, he likes
I think
to
he
say
had it
that,
in February, but we'll
yeah.
never know.
Right.
Well, I love talking to you about body, and we're going to keep talking together, but we're going to take a quick tea break. And for all of you listening, we're going to come back in a week, but you and I are going to meet back here in a moment.
Okay.
And thank you for always emphasizing what was important growing up, because it's been very helpful. I'm sorry I don't have a daughter to pass it on to, but maybe a granddaughter.
Oh, totally.
We can start buying dresses now. Thank you, Mommy.
Thank you, Sophie.
Hi, this is Sophie McCallum, and I just wanted to take a minute to thank all of the absolutely exceptional fans of my father's who have been listening to my podcast. I am the Self-Love Peddler. You can find me at selflovepeddler.com. And I work with women, as you know from listening to my podcast, to help them uncover love for themselves so that they can truly get to know themselves, so that they can have these lives that flourish into their wildest dreams. So I didn't originally set out to do a podcast with my dad. I did a podcast with a lot of different people, but the podcast that I did with him, that one episode just resonated with me so much. I just had to keep going. I am so very, very, very blessed to have him in my life and to have my mother in my life. Every day that they are here with me, I know is a gift. And they have really helped me uncover my passion, which is, as I said, helping women uncover their passions. So if you or any loved ones that you know might be interested in working with me, I just launched an amazing course called Flourish and Fly, which is the basics to self-love. It's a super effective, fun, and efficient course that I really enjoyed making. And even when I watched it to make sure everything was in order, I got so much out of it as a viewer. So that was really rewarding to create something and then to profit from it in my proof watching, if you will. I work with women of all ages. You may have granddaughters who you see on social media all the time or on their devices all the time. I know that can be really scary for those of us who don't really know what's going on there. It's a tough time to be a young woman growing up. All women are told that the future is female and that they hold all the cards, yet at the same time they have food, fashion, and diet industries telling them that they're not good enough and that they need to change to be worthy. So it's a tough time. There's a lot of dialogue coming at women from different directions, women of all ages. So just going to promote what I'm offering to the community in case there's a woman in your community or if you yourself would be interested in checking out my course.
I'm really extremely proud of it. Flourish and fly. It's my calling, getting these things out there. And I really appreciate your help and your encouragement and your support. And for all you male Man from Uncle fans out there, I don't mean to exclude you. Thank you as well. It's a real joy sharing this connection I have with my dad with you. Every time I sit down with him, I learn so much. And sometimes I hear stories that I've heard over and over and over again, and I don't mind it for a minute. And I love that even though I've heard a lot of these stories before, you guys haven't. So it's a real gift to share this. And what's been really fun too is as we go through this process, at first I would come to our recordings with a list of things to discuss. And now when I see my dad, which is very often, we're quite close, he says things like, so I was thinking this would be a good topic, or that would be a good topic. And he's starting to think about this format and this forum that we have together. And he's so sweet. He's always learning, right? And always growing and always trying new things. As many of you know, he's writing his second book right now, and he's all in. And he's also still working full time and flying out to California to work. But he's started to bring topics to the table for us to discuss, such as energy, energy. And that's never been like his forte, his playground, if you will. And it's not that he's taking my lead, it's that he is finding a way to be interested in what interests me. And he knows that through that, he will grow. And we can all learn a lot from him. He's really a special human being. And it's such a pleasure and such a treat for me to be doing this podcast. I hope we do many, 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 many more. And again, this is just a little interruption to say thank you, to plug my job, because I feel so strongly that what I do is providing a service that can help so many, and it brings me so much joy to share it with you. And I'm so glad that I have brought you joy sharing some more of my dad with you. And let's just keep it all going. So thank you. And more to come, I promise. Keep on listening and keep on being your awesome selves. I really appreciate you.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please hit the subscribe button so you're notified each time a Life, Love, and Good Stuff Father and Daughter Chats with David and Sophie McCallum podcast drops. Until next time, remember to lead with love.